Hey guys, Sally Tongue Molly here. My husband Derek and I own Auto Rehab. We've owned our own shop for 7 years, and Derek has been in the automotive industry for 15 plus years. So we have two updates for you today on our Supra. We're really excited. We have first heard that the body shop is done with all of the body prep work. We understand busyness, it's been there for a couple of months, but now it's finished and it is ready to literally get painted. So we are excited. We should have another update in the next couple of weeks as far as it being painted. And we have chosen a turbo for the Supra. Yes, and it's in. We're going to show you in this video. We're also going to tell you how to choose the correct turbo for your vehicle according to your performance goals. It's really important, and we give you practical information on how to do that. So, Derek, take it away.
A good street car, typically you want a turbocharger that spools up quick enough. Spool up, what it is on a turbocharger uses your exhaust to turn a turbine, which on the other side of that turbine is a compressor, and it will suck air in and compress it, and that's what builds boost to build the power in the engine. There's a give and take. So if you go for very high horsepower, typically you'll need a lot larger compressor, but it's harder to spool that up. The smaller engine has a hard time creating enough back pressure soon enough to get that thing going. And so that's when we're talking about unstreetable versus streetable, and that's a controversy because I've seen people drive 1,500 horsepower cars on the street. It's not that it's impossible, but it's a little more laggy, so they have an issue, so they don't come onto their power band till about 5,000, 5,500, maybe 6,000 RPM. But from there to the end is where they make a ton of power. Very violent power, and it shreds tires, it breaks rear ends, it breaks drive shafts, and that's what we were talking about. We want somewhat of a streetable. Now, streetable for a Supra is different than streetable for other cars. Previous Supra, we typically on the streets were in the 600 horsepower range, and it was a very fun car. It was plenty fast, it was reliable. I drove it to California before, and that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for. However, with a Supra, you can get into the 900 range with very familiar characteristics. It's not a very difficult goal. Now, I know we have forced pistons and forced rods in this motor, meaning the motor itself will be capable of the 1,500 horsepower range. However, regardless of how strong the motor is built, we're more interested in staying in that level that we want.
A lot of great companies out there. Precision, I've had a lot of experience with. Grady, I've had a good experience with. HKS, Garrett, Borg Warner. There's a lot of great brands of turbochargers out there.
However, recently I've used Precisions quite a bit. The last Supra had a Precision turbo on it once. It also had a Garrett turbo on it. Garrett turbochargers are great for reliability. They are more costly, and they're better for high heat areas. If we lived in Phoenix versus Flagstaff, I would be more interested in a Garrett. I went with a Precision turbo. They're an air-cooled turbo, so they don't have liquid cooling going through the center housing. They have a lot of advancements in their fin design, and so they're able to make some pretty good horsepower with some pretty good spool-up times. And I'm interested in spool-up time. I want this to be able to come on power in the 4,000 to 4,500 RPM power range because I want to have a usable power band that I can get to soon enough. And that's what characterizes a street car, something that can come onto power relatively quickly. With turbochargers, if you go for the 1,500 horsepower goal, it's going to be a very laggy turbocharger, and that's not what we wanted. So we originally chose a Precision 6870 is what I was looking at. And that's a turbocharger that will very easily hit our horsepower goal. In fact, it's been known to hit up to 1,000 horsepower to the wheels. However, when you look at dyno charts in the 1,000 horsepower range, it'll peak by about 7,000 RPMs and kind of roll off. And that means the turbocharger has passed its efficiency. So yes, it can hit 1,000, but between gear shifts, you're gonna lose a little. And so for high-speed roll racing or anything, when you're racing, you're typically going to redline every time, it would fall off if you went for that 1,000 horsepower range, which we didn't care because we were shooting for 800 to 900. If you are choosing a turbocharger, first have your goal of horsepower. Secondly, what turbo would do that goal comfortably, because I don't like the idea of spinning a turbo to 50 pounds of boost in order to get to your goal. It's better to get to your goal at a lower boost range, somewhere in the 30 pounds of boost kind of area. Rule of thumb, is to typically go one size larger. So the next size above a 6870 is a 7175. This is similar to a Garrett GT42. It's a very awesome turbo and will still spool up quick enough for us for what we're looking to do. So this is the new turbocharger for the Supra. This is a Precision 7175. It is a ball bearing turbocharger. It does have a polished housing. That's just for looks, does not help with your horsepower. And it also has a coated exhaust housing. Now this is important because it helps keep underhood temperatures down. This has been painted with a special ceramic paint that helps it to keep the temperatures down, or in a sense, keeps the temperature inside so it can go out the exhaust. We have several options when you go into a 7175, and most of these options are the size of the exit on the compressor as well as the exhaust housing. Because we're interested in a lower power range than this turbo is capable of, we have a 0.81 exhaust housing. Now that's a smaller exhaust housing. Most of these run a 1 or 1.15 exhaust housing, which is larger. But we don't intend to spin this in the 40 and 50 psi range. Typically, if we can get our horsepower goal around 30 psi, that's ideal. And so having the smaller housing will help me get into that power band quickly. The advantage of this is if I wanted to expand, say I wanted to push 50 pounds of boost or 40 pounds of boost, and I didn't want to lift the head because of too much back pressure, I can simply swap just this exhaust housing to a larger one, and then we can go after a higher power goal. The reason we recommend one step larger on your turbocharger is a very common thing to see people build a car, have a horsepower goal, and think I would never go more than 700. And then they get bit by the horsepower bug. And all of a sudden they want bigger and they want more because they're used to that power. And all of a sudden 700 doesn't feel so extreme and wild anymore. It feels pretty mellow and normal. And they want more. And so most tuners will also sell you larger fuel systems than your power goal because they are very used to people coming back, I want more. And rather than redoing an entire fuel system, they'll start you off with a bigger one. This way you can expand. And so that's what we're doing here. We're doing a slightly larger turbo. It is gonna cost us a few hundred RPMs and spool up. However, it will hit our goal easily. Should we ever decide to expand or push it a little harder, we can. These 7175s do 1,000 horsepower easily, meaning our goal of the 800, 900 should be no problem. We won't have to run the turbo to full tilt all the time, meaning it can last longer. So a turbocharger, when it's forced to be at those higher boost levels for longer periods of time, wear out the bearing, wear out the center housing, wear out a lot of it. And so this is how we keep reliability, drivability. We get that nice even balance of what we want by choosing our turbocharger correct.